I'm here today to show you how to assemble a pumper car. This is how they come right in the box. Here's what they look like when you open up the box. And I'm going to start taking out all the parts. I've laid out everything that you're going to need for this power pumper. This particular set came with 2 extra screws, so if you get a couple extra, don't worry about that. This is the power pumper body. It has the front end pre-assembled. This is the rear axle assembly. And these are the 8 screws that you're going to need to install that. This is the brake bar assembly. This is the front axle and the T-plate, including all the nuts and bolts for both of those parts. This is the chain and spring, which is the drive mechanism for the power pumper. This is the pumper arm, and this is the pivot pin, including the 2 caps. You'll need to install that. These are your 4 wheels and the 4 caps to install those. These are the 4 screws to install this sprocket shroud. And these are the 8 small screws you will need to install the pumper arm shroud. And these are your stickers. Alright, so I'm going to begin the assembly. It looks like there's kind of a lot of parts, but it really is fairly simple and straightforward. And also, if you notice that right here is the serial number for the power pumper. If you fill out the serial number on your warranty card and send that in, then you can have replacement parts for up to a year. First step is to place the brake arm in this groove that it just nests in very nicely. Second step is to place your rear axle assembly in place, and you'll line up these holes in the axle with the holes that are in the body. Then you'll install both of these parts with 8 screws. Next thing I'm going to do is put 2 wheels on the rear axle.
Does it matter which ones?
No, all 4 wheels are the same, but this one wheel is very particular, where the placement of this wheel is very particular. This one rear wheel has to engage with these yoke bushing arms on the spines of the wheel. To make sure that that is fully engaged, I give it a tap with a mallet just to get that all the way on. Then to keep the wheel on, you're going to install these caps, and these will pressure fit onto the shaft of the axle. and they will not come off. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put one cap on one end of this pumper pin. And that will make installing your pumper pin a little easier. Next thing I'm going to do is put this pumper arm on. The reason we put those wheels on the rear is so that you can stand this up easily, and it'll make your work a lot easier when you're putting this in. So the way to get this in is to make sure that this notch is facing forward of your entire unit once you're done. And then you're going to put the grip in and kind of rock it back into the inside of the body. And what you're looking for is there's a hole right here, there's a hole in the pumper arm, and you got to get this pin through all 4 of those holes. You might need a little bit of help with this. You got to install this cap on that pumper pin there. The way to do it is to support the other side with your hand or your friend's hand. Get that to kind of just stay in place, and give it a good whack with a mallet or hammer. Next thing I'm going to do is install the T-plate. The T-plate will fit over the steering column, and it's important to make sure that it is oriented as in this manner. You'll use 2 of the longer screws to install this part. Next thing you're going to do is install the steering axle. It fits over the steering column, and it aligns with the holes in the steering knuckle. Take one of these bolts and go up through and put one of these nuts on finger tight. And you'll repeat that process over on the other side. Then you need to tighten those down all the way. These are nylock nuts, so they go on and they do not come back off. So when you're tightening these down, you tighten them all the way tight, and then you're going to actually back off this nut about a 1/4 turn so that you can spin it freely with your fingers. Next, I'm going to install the chain on the pumper arm. Your chain will come with 2 different ends. You're going to install this end onto the pumper arm. I take the chain and I lay it in this groove and let it come all the way back until I have about the length that I need on the upper end. And I'm going to take this nut and bolt and put the nut through the hole in the chain, through the hole in the pumper arm, and out the other side. And then secure it with the nylock nut. These will be tightened with an 8mm wrench and a screwdriver. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put on the sprocket shroud. I'm going to get the chain on the sprocket and then pass these chain through the hole in the sprocket shroud. This will sit in place pretty naturally. I'll install this with 4 longer screws. Then I'm going to hook the spring to the chain and then hook the other end of the spring back to the pumper arm. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put the wheels on the front end. This is the same process as before. You put the wheel on and keep it in place with one of these caps. Then you flip over your power pumper and install the pumper arm shroud. It goes over one side, and it fits like that. It will only fit one way. It won't fit on like that. And you install that with these 8 small screws. And now your power pumper is ready to ride. But we do have some stickers if you'd like to put the stickers on first. This is the power pumper logo, usually goes on the front. And this is the license plate and a couple tail lights you can put on the back. Also a dial or a gauge indicator for your fuel and battery and everything. It's fun.